Hi, Sparkles. This is episode 185 of the Intuitive Wisdom Podcast. Today, I've got something special for you. I've invited my friend Christina for a conversation to show you the behind-the-scenes work we do as we each continue to evolve and expand personally in our lives and businesses. My intention is to make this a monthly check-in and support your inner work as well. Be sure to listen to the end for Christina's card pull and divine inspiration for this month. Here we go. Welcome to Intuitive Wisdom, a space for grounded energy, soulful insight, and conscious living. I'm K. Margaret Solorio, author, Angel Reiki Master, biotech graduate, and guide for those seeking alignment in their home and life. Each week we explore the unseen layers of energy, intuition, and transformation, because when you tune in, everything begins to shift. So take a breath, and let's begin. Super quick announcements today. Have you purchased your copy of my book? Not yet? Well, it's available on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle versions. It's called Make Ease Your Vibe. And once you purchase, you can head over to my website, deliciousease.com, to enter your information and gain access to the plethora, I just said plethora, of bonus material I've created for you to go with each chapter of the book, including a chapter outline. Also, I have availability for remote home frequency resets. If you're feeling stuck, old, or stagnant energy in your home or workspace and you want to make energetic space for opportunities, be sure to go to my website, deliciousease.com/services to sign up for your reset. And if you're not already, be sure to sign up for my email list and follow me on at Delicious Ease on Instagram. I'll be running a drawing this month soon to win a free home frequency reset. All right, let's get to our June Insights episode. Hi, Christina. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking, Kay Margaret. How about yourself?
I'm working on fantastic. Thank you. I'm super excited you're here and that we're having this conversation and to share your knowledge again with our listeners. We're trying something new today just to bring everybody up to speed and hopefully it becomes a monthly thing because I know it's going to be awesome. So Christina has her wonderful podcast too, Clear and on Purpose. And I know that everyone that listens to our podcast is working to improve themselves in some way and that we both work really hard on that and that reflects in our work. But I think it's really interesting to kind of go behind the scenes and see some of that. You do a really beautiful job with your village community in having conversations that inspire, but also get us to reflect and like bring all these things that are happening to a practical level, which I really appreciate. Always makes me think, which is awesome. And I also love that you, Christina, have a good way of what's the right way of saying that? Of taking what's happening now, maybe personally or in your world, and then like extrapolating that to the greater community or collective consciousness or whichever way you're going to think of that. And that's something I don't yet have a good grasp on, but I really appreciate the feedback. So the idea with today is just to do a quick check-in, like, hey, what's new? What are you up to? What are you thinking about? Because I think we're probably all on some similar vibe, and that can be really helpful.
Yeah, no, thank you, Kay Margaret. I really appreciate the opportunity to come in and have these conversations. I always love when we get together and able to communicate because I think that you're right, that we have similar desires and similar ideas for what we want to do and how we want to expand ourselves, and then also bring that expansion to other people. And in the work that you do and the way that we have these conversations, I think is really interesting. I think it's kind of nice sometimes to get a little bit of behind the scenes because in your podcast, I know that you can come across as very polished, as like having your stuff together. Mm-hmm. And I think similarly, like if people are listening to some of the things that I'm putting out there, it can seem like everything's just kind of smooth or that we have it all figured out. And I think that the beauty of all of this, and I think that's part of the magic of what we do, is that it is all just kind of moving and evolving, and we're moving and we're evolving. And like you were saying before, like not feeling necessarily physically all the way 100% right now because, there's energy expansion going and there's other
Yeah.
up leveling in your life. And so I think that this opportunity to be able to just kind of pull back that curtain and be like, hey, here's the real of what's going on. Here's what we got going on. That I love that opportunity and the opportunity to look back and then also to be able to reframe some of the things. Because I think sometimes when you're in it, it can just feel a little heavy, but then by
Mhm.
having conversations with other people, by being able to look at it and see things in different perspectives, and just kind of reinvigorating and getting that motivation, that energy, and that reminder again of like why we do the work that we do.
Yes, I love all that. And I agree. There's a lot that goes into making an episode, whether it's research or putting stuff together or a lot of the personal development work, like just using myself as an experiment. So that, and you're right, that comes off maybe more as polished in the episode because I've put everything together or found the conclusion. So seeing more along the way. And I absolutely, I love your reflections back to me. They help me a lot see things from a different perspective. Well, that all being said, what's new for you lately? Personal development,
Yeah.
business, life hacks
Yeah.
comes to mind.
So, in the work that I do, I typically consider myself a life and business coach. And so I work with people, and my favorite thing to do is to work with the integration between balancing work life and like professional or passion pursuits with everyday day-to-day family. Like I'm a mom, I homeschool, I run a business, I do all these things, but I really want to bring more intention back to that. And I do think that like the quote unquote doing it all, I think that you can do it all as long as you know that you can't do it all at once. So like choosing and making those intentional shifts. And so for me, when I go back and I look at like, I take time each month usually to go through and do my or do my monthly reflections and kind of see what's going and see where I want to head. For this month is my birthday month, and
Yay, happy birthday.
thank you. And we have a lot of things going on in our family. We have lots of birthdays, anniversaries, all kinds of things going on, and it's the start of summer, which is my favorite time. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually trying to focus more on bringing more fun, more spontaneity, more excitement into my life. And I think that that is going to reflect in my work too. I've been bringing a lot more of my motherhood and parenting journey into a lot of my content that I've been putting out there recently too. And the perspectives that I have, because I feel like so much of the personal growth and what pushes me to be better, what pushes me to drive harder, what makes me realize what my intentions and my values are come from the lessons that I learned from being a mom and from working with my kids. And so I want to be able to share that and help other people too that might be struggling, because I think that they're some of our greatest teachers, like running a business
Amen.
and being a mom, like these are our greatest teachers here. And so bringing some of that perspective in, so you might see some more of that shift in my work too, and just like sharing some of the, again, like more of the behind the scenes of like, these are the things that I know that are important, but they're coming from this place of like the grounding that I have in here. And by grounding into my regular rhythms, my routines on a personal level, then I have more opportunities to bring in more fun and joy and all the things that are like what I actually want and what are important to me. All the stuff that I'm doing is to get more of that into my life.
Yay. One, amazing. Two, I definitely agree. Joy is the purpose of life. And I love anything that helps us bring our full authentic self together because I feel like everything you're describing it's so easy, I think, when you have so many different roles in your life to kind of like flip a switch and say, okay, I have to be this person to these people and this person for this and this person to this. And then you feel really fractured and you forget you can show up as yourself in all of those roles and what they really need is you anyway. So everything you're saying really feels like, okay, I'm giving myself permission to be me in all these different roles, which sounds amazing. And I listened to your episode recently about like start of summer and kids home from school. And I realized how anxious I was about that. And you had talked about like a strategy of kind of being prepared to allow for spontaneity, like having like go packs ready or snacks ready. I forget what it was exactly. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. And I do that for myself, like personally, so I can have, for lack of a better term, even though I don't love the term, self-care time, but like so I can have a few minutes to read during the day or have some, like I'll make that easy.
Yeah.
So why not make fun easy? That it was like, oh, that's genius.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks. And what do you have going on? What's new for you? I know you have some new offerings and services that you're doing. What's your
I
focus for this month?
do. Thanks. Well, like you mentioned, I'm doing a lot of inner work, energy work, and so that's resulted in me feeling physical symptoms of disease. So I'm working through that, but it started with T. Harv Eker, I think is his name. He has a millionaire mindset book. So I've been working on my money mindset and doing the work. Like I read the book once and I'm reading it again with an accountability partner and going through chapter by chapter and doing the exercises. And I can really feel like the expansion, which I'm very excited about because we've talked about that before. I've been building a business for a little while, but there's like some frustration as, and I'm doing all the stuff, but it's not quite where it is. So this talks about like your blueprint and what your subconscious is and what might be blocking it. And so that's been really powerful. And I'm hoping to finish that book this month. So that's exciting. And then as I worked through that, I came up with the idea and then realized how much of an impact like there is in this, our physical space and our physical body and the energy work. So up until now, I've done energy sessions, group and individual on the physical body. And now I'm moving that work to work on spaces, so homes and workspaces. And it's very similar, but it's new and exciting at the same time. And it's helpful. And I think it's this area that we don't really think about. We always think about working on ourselves and growing, like once we get to that awareness. But then we forget that our environment has a big impact on us too. And it's this, I don't know, how do I say that? I always like that analogy of you have to kind of pull back to slingshot forward.
Mhm.
And so we move ourselves into the energy work ourselves forward and we have to bring our space up to it. Like we all leave everything we do leaves kind of an energetic residue footprint and that kind of collects in the corners of our houses almost like dust. So there's always room for maintenance, but this is more about supporting changes. Like if you've got a big life change or you are doing the inner work and growing or you have a space where you do energy work and you help others, so there's more going on, helping that clear out and be in alignment and the energy move and feel good and support you. And so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I think that I love that you're doing this too, because I do think that sometimes we can think of, and I know that for many years, when my kids were toddlers, okay, just all full disclosure, I am not the cleanest person. Like I'm messy. I'm a messy human. And so when I had kids, like that just compounded the messiness. And I think that, for a long time, I didn't think that it affected me at all. I thought that it was fine. I thought that, it was like, it just was what it is. And I'm used to this. I live in chaos. It's fine. But when I started actually being able to like declutter and do all these things, like just from a physical standpoint, and you're talking like even elevating that, but just from a physical standpoint, realizing the impact that had subconsciously on me of just this pull of like all these to-dos and all this stuff that I had going on. Being able to elevate that and then to take that and then be able to move that to an energetic level as well of like, if we want to become and transform and do these different things, the way that we present ourselves and the way that we view ourselves, if we're waking up in the same way, in the same energy, in the same everything, and then expecting a big change from ourselves, that's not going to be supportive. So by giving ourselves some of these physical cues, some of these energetic cues of like, no, this is new. This is a new way that we are being, and this is a new way that we are existing. Really is a helpful thing. And last month I've been, because you've been doing it too, but I've been on this like physical health journey of increasing my workouts and doing all of these things. And I would do them in the middle of the day because I got done with the school stuff before I like got into other stuff that I meetings and things in the afternoon. And I try to slot them in this mid morning, which I thought again worked great. Like my energy is pretty good by then. I'm getting in my workout, but then it was like the middle of the day and I'm not ready for the day. So the whole morning, like I'm just in my workout clothes, not ready. And then I go and then I'm just like, okay, well now it's, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And now I'm just now getting my shower. I'm just now getting ready. I'm just now getting ready for the day. And then sometimes it was like, if I didn't have
That's the
meetings, like,
point.
is it really worth it? Like, I don't know. But now that I've been doing it and trying to get it in earlier, and just experimenting and see how it feels, I realize that I feel so much better when I'm able to just be ready for the day. And then whatever comes, if I have a random meeting, if I have to go run an errand, and then I'm not like feeling all scrubby all the time.
Mhm.
So just noticing those changes and experimenting, like my insides or my outsides matching what I'm trying to get to on my insides.
Yeah,
And
amen.
those can come either way. So it either comes from the inside out, or you can also bring in those cues like you're talking about and doing that home reset and then being able to bring in those cues of saying, yeah, here it is. Like now I'm seeing there's a change, so now I'm going to act different.
Right. And yeah, they are energetic markers, which can be inspirational to help you remember, like you said, at that subconscious level, like, oh yeah, I want to do this. I want to do this, and not kind of default back to what was because you are working so hard. And I'm also on the morning train. I've been off a few weeks because I have to work so hard to breathe right now.
Yeah.
But I agree. I despise morning workouts, but man, they feel good afterwards, and you are ready to go for anything. It's a
Yeah.
lot, makes the day a lot more fun.
Yeah, and I am somebody that is totally on board for experimentation. And like my life is never the same. I'll go in routines for a long time of getting into something and then eventually it just won't work anymore. And so I try something new. As part of my experiments for these workout mornings, I started taking a Pilates class at the local gym that I go to. And I have to get up at 5:45 to get over there. But then I do my weight workout afterwards. And that's actually what spurred it. Worked out great because I didn't have to like go in hardcore first, but it was getting me out and ready. And this week I have not been doing that because the last time that I went, we have a lot of older seniors in the class, which is great. And typically you can kind of like check your level. But this last one, we were literally just getting like up and down off the floor, like from a crawling position up to the thing for mobility, which honestly is super. But for me, like trying to get what I feel like is a workout that works for my body, it felt a little bit like, what am I doing up at 5:45 so that I can get up and down off the ground right now? So I'm still, again, like experimenting and trying and seeing new things, but just bringing all of that in and just like having a sense of humor about the whole thing.
Mhm.
And bringing in like, okay, well, we'll see. Maybe I go back and maybe I do some things, or maybe I find a different place that I can go to and do some other things. But having that, like you're saying, like, okay, I'm not feeling great, so I'm going to take it easy these weeks, and not having those rigid boundaries, I think is so
Mhm.
important.
Yes. And trusting yourself. I think that faith of knowing I've created an exercise routine that is a habit. So just because I'm off it for a little bit doesn't mean I'm going to lose it forever. It just means I'm listening to what my body needs now. And surely there's stuff happening in this rest that I can't even be aware of that will help me and I'll be back at it. And I know how much I enjoy it. Was it absence makes the heart go fonder? I
Well, and
respect it even more.
it's leaning into that trust too of like I can give myself space to rest and trust that I will be able to come back when it's ready. I think sometimes we move from fear of like I have to keep going because if I don't keep going, then I'm never going to do it and then I'm just going to
Yeah.
like and so moving
Backwards.
into that trust of self and being able to have that honoring of our own needs and being able to be in tune with that and then knowing that like you'll also get the nudge of like I'm ready.
Yes. Yeah. I ask every morning. Today? Nope, not yet.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
true. I'm curious, we talked about once in your village sessions about having like a word of the month or a feeling or a mantra, and then kind of translating that either when you make decisions or just kind of keeping it in mind. Have you thought of anything for your birthday month for June?
Yeah, so I usually do a word of the year, and sometimes I'll kind of bring in feelings, not necessarily a word of the month, but I'd have to go back and even check what my word of the year is. I think it's determined or deliberate. I think it's deliberate. But to bring in for this month, I am just really going to lean into like the fun and the joy.
Yeah.
Um, I want to bring in more things that just spark like that. Maybe we do a lot of we're doing summer sports, right? So we've been in our sporting era of life with the kids. And there's a track that they have around the place where they practice, and I'll usually go for a walk around there and get my steps in while they're doing it, or take a book if I'm staying there. And what I've noticed though is that there's a lot of people rollerblading on the track, and I was like, you know what?
Mm.
Like, I've never been a good rollerblader, but I can roller skate, and like maybe so like just keeping an eye on Facebook Marketplace and just seeing like this is not something that I'm committed to, so I'm not really interested in
Investing.
investing a whole lot into this new potential hobby, where I will probably fall on my butt a lot, but just kind of keeping an eye out for, okay, well, you know what, that's sparking an interest, so maybe I just go and I lean into looking and seeing what's available, and I lean into that. Or there's some dance classes that aren't necessarily real close to here, but they've just been like,
Oh,
you know what, that
fun.
sounds interesting to me. So like maybe I drive the 45 minutes and I go to the dance class and I just check it out a couple of times, and like I want to be on the water more. So like how can I just make these part of my routine? And working on with the kids, like having like a fun Fridays or something where we're actually taking advantage. We're in the Midwest. Like this weather is not around all the time for us. So being able to really just take advantage of those opportunities instead of just like sitting at home or letting things like, oh, well, I'm just going to sit at the office and get some more things done that may or may not need doing, just because I feel like I should, like really just embracing the fact that, you know what? No, I want to bring in more joy, and that's going to do more for me and how I show up in all of the things.
I love that. For me, I was thinking about just feeling like with this energetic upgrade that I'm going through, feeling next level, and what does that look like? There's one concept in the book I'm reading, that money mindset book, that says, to simplify it, poor people think either or, I have to pick one thing, and rich people think both. I was like, okay, so how can I think about like, like thinking about your episode, my kids being home and having a good time, and me having a good time and getting my work done. How can I have both?
Yeah.
So I think applying that to, because a lot of times I do find myself like picking. I can have one thing and I have to sacrifice the other, and not doing that and thinking like, okay, I want both things. Like you said, maybe not at the same time, but how can I do that? What can I create that allows for both to be great?
Yeah. Does that translate into a word for the month for you, or a thought?
I just wrote next level because I think for me that feels like the next level where I don't have to when you feel like you have to choose one or the other, it feels like a forced kind of oppressive, like you have to do this, and not coming from a place of joy or what you want. It's fitting yourself into somebody else's box. So I want to remember that, keeping that open and thinking, oh, if I have these feelings, let's go with the intuition and see how we can do both.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I think that um that either or that both, I think that that's something that the more that you have like the clarity of like what you want and
Yeah.
those values, that those things start to come in, because it's yeah, I want to be able to, be able to put all this time into my business. I want to be able to do this work that I do. And I also want to be able to have fun and have the kids around and have all of these things. And is it always going to be amazing? No, it's going to be hard sometimes. Like it's going to be annoying sometimes, and they're going to be whining, and there's going to be things happening. But how can you move into a place of, can I have both of these things and like set my expectations that this is my desire and this is my intention, and putting that out there. and then allowing that to come in and allowing more opportunities to do that. And whether it's setting up systems and getting things ready so that I can create more of that space, or whether it's just changing my mindset on what that might look like and what that means. And maybe it isn't doing like grand adventures all the time, but maybe it's taking advantage of these little moments or noticing these little moments that are here in the everyday. And like, how are those things so nice? Because I think a lot of times too, we can think of like, oh, we have to do all of these big things for anything to matter. But really it is like noticing and slowing down and being able to realize the beauty that is right now too.
Yeah, I love that. Selfishly, I have to ask, are you up for a card pull?
I did one.
Yeah.
I did do one. Yeah, so I like to be able to look at it and say, what's the energy? What do we got going on? And for this one, and this was my plan the whole time of conversation, so this is not was not indicative from this, but it's adventures. So
Dun, dun, dun. Very nice.
and it's a lofty waterfall. So symbolically, water usually relates to emotions. Moving water is moving and fluid emotions. It represents letting go and release. Water also represents spirituality, and moving water can represent spiritual rejuvenation, regeneration, and renewal. Water falling from a great height, such as a lofty waterfall, intensifies every meaning of water. The power of moving water doesn't allow life to be stagnant. It activates new experiences and adventures. Something exciting is around the corner. You're entering a new frontier filled with expansive energy. Begin to look at your world in new and different ways. Something that you thought was mundane, or someone who you may have overlooked, will open the door to new opportunities and a bigger and bolder way of living. Be willing to see the world around you in new ways. Don't be lulled into complacency. This card appears when you're ready to remove your blinders and take action, so life doesn't become stagnant and lackluster. It also can signify incredible spiritual attunement and spiritual voyages.
Woohoo! That's all. Your card pulls are always so perfect. It's just, yeah. I love that because that's what you made me think of before you pulled the card, that it's about creating the magic where you are, That's what it's like. And also the energy flow, the water. I always think of energy coming in through us as a bit of an energetic stream waterfall. So that's cool too.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when I feel like I'm feeling stuck or I'm feeling stagnant, that realizing that that's me. It's not, I can put it on the outside circumstances. I can say that all these things or whatever's going on, but I'm the one that has the ability to change my perspective and to see things differently and to create more space for new things if that's what I want. So if I'm feeling stuck, if I'm feeling stagnant, then I also have the power to not feel that way.
Amen.
And so choosing that.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining me. This was...
And Kay Margaret, do you want to just say the name? I know that you're putting it on yours and you said the name of my podcast, but if I'm sharing on mine as well.
Thank you so much. Yes. The Intuitive Wisdom Podcast is my podcast where you can also find this.
Yes. And she does wonderful things. She just did a whole month long of little mini reflections so people can go back and check out all of those different perspectives and have those just daily little nuggets. I loved it.
Oh, good. Yeah. I don't always have a long time to listen. So I love the short little, and you know me, I love food for thought. You get one nugget in my brain and I sit with it all through the day and I always learn and grow. It's good.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me on Intuitive Wisdom. If this episode brought you clarity or inspiration, please take a moment to leave a 5-star review. It truly helps others find this space. If someone you love could use a shift in energy, share this episode with them. You never know what might resonate. For more, explore my frequency reset service, tune into more episodes, or begin the journey through my book, Make Ease Your Vibe. All this can be found at my website, deliciousease.com. Until next time, trust your energy, honor your space, and keep coming home to yourself. Cheers.